The Berlin district of Kreuzberg. I've always liked this area and the special character its largely non-German population gives it. But today, I'm seeing the city, my city, from a new perspective. What goes on behind closed doors? I want to know why women are murdered in the name of honor. There have been 70 such killings in Germany since 1996. Why are women forced into marriages? Why are they kept prisoner and beaten and abducted? What about their basic human rights? A lot of people in Kreuzberg are originally from Turkey, many from the countryside. Unemployment is high, many speak little or no German and are poorly educated. Maybe that's why so many cling tightly to the traditional values from their homeland and observe them more closely in Germany than back in Turkey. This man admits there's a problem with women and maintaining their culture. He says that clothing, for instance, is the least of their problems. Observant Muslim women usually wear a headscarf. According to the Quran, men are supposed to tell their women to cover their heads. Some women are happy to do it. This woman says she dresses this way voluntarily and she's not oppressed. She's able to do everything other women do, going to the cinema or out to eat, even on her own. She says there are isolated cases, but they're misleading. She indicates a sister who doesn't wear a headscarf and says they're free to decide whether they cover their heads or not. The problems come when women don't want to do what their husbands or fathers want. I go to Cologne, where I meet Fatma Blazer. She was abused as a child and as a young woman was tricked into going to Turkey, where she was forced to marry. She ran away and has written about her life. She is still threatened 20 years later. Now she helps other women suffering the same traumas. Fatma tells me about the phone calls she gets in the middle of the night. Typically she hears screaming and a voice pleading for help, saying things like, "My sister's nose has been broken and now they want to kill me." Fatma says there's situations like one in which a father and brother beat the caller, broke her nose and shoved a broom into her stomach. The girls have done things like get caught with boys or not put on their headscarves properly, so they slip off. Or someone has seen them go swimming secretly. She says situations like this make her wonder why this still happens in the 21st century.
Da sitze ich da und denke, ich lebe doch im 21. Jahrhundert. Warum passiert das immer noch?
We go to meet Saida. Fatma Blazer spent several nights talking to her on the phone, trying to convince her not to commit suicide. She explains that Saida traveled around hundreds of kilometers. She'd ride the train without a ticket or take a bus. She was simply on the run. Fatma says it was horrible to see a person like that, whose life meant nothing anymore.
Die zeigt, was bedeutet das Leben? Es bedeutet gar nichts mehr.
Fatma Blazer has started an organization called Hennamond to help in these situations. Each week as many as 10 women and girls seek her help. Like Saida, which is a pseudonym. We've also agreed to disguise her face and voice. Her mother is German, her father a doctor from Syria, an educated family background. But then her father began to change and became a religious fundamentalist and violent. Saida's parents forced her to go to Syria. She ran away and returned to Germany. She's agreed to speak to me, even though her father is still looking for her and wants to abduct her. Saida says her parents locked her into a room and isolated her from the outside world. No telephone, nothing. They brainwashed her, deprived her of sleep, and she didn't eat for days. At some point she lost all sense of reality and didn't even notice getting on an aeroplane. By the time she returned to her senses, she was in Syria. I asked what her parents wanted to do with her in Syria. Saida says they wanted her to lead a strict Muslim life there. They said she was meant to walk the path of God, or wander through hell and die. Since her return to Germany, Saida's life has been very difficult. No one believed her story. The Youth Welfare Office even told her father where she was. She's been traumatized and feels persecuted, threatened and alone. Saida says she feels love for her father, but that she's also deathly afraid of him. He has threatened to kill her, has stood before her holding a knife. And Saida's story is no isolated case. I returned to Berlin, where, according to the Turkish Association, half of the Turkish immigrants did not marry willingly. I'm in touch with some 20 aid organizations, sanctuaries and associations. There are a lot of women who have currently found shelter through these institutions. But all of them were afraid to talk to me. But there's a willingness to speak where there are positive examples and where integration has succeeded. TIO is an organization that advises and trains immigrant women. These girls have finished high school and they're hoping to get training positions in administration. They can get prepared here. They say they feel like a part of German society, like everyone else. This girl tells me that her life is no different from anyone else's and that she gets treated just like German kids do, except that the religion is different and that they might have different obligations.
Was meinst du mit anderen Aufgaben?
I ask her what she means by different obligations, and she says that Muslim kids have to attend the mosque, or that some have to wear a headscarf. She says Christian kids may also have to go to church, but she thinks the non-German kids have a stricter upbringing.
Ist das für dich ein Problem?
I ask her if that's a problem for her. She says no, that she's satisfied with her upbringing. The director, Aifa Schulz, says the girls are satisfied because here they get a chance at a future. I ask whether there are girls who have plans, who hope that getting an education will help them be independent. Aifa Schulz says yes. They know that financial independence is very important. As long as they have to live at home, they have to submit to their parents' rules and whims. That can be very difficult. So for many, a training position is a first step to freedom. These girls are looking for a way towards independence. Education may be a women's matter here, but praying is a men's matter at the Sihitlik Mosque in the Berlin district of Neukölln. Midday prayers. Downstairs is for the men. Upstairs for the women. But they don't come here that often. This is a modern Muslim congregation. They're interested in integration. But I'm not sure whether that message gets through to the people who come here to pray. I get the impression they want to keep to themselves in order to protect their traditions, sometimes by any means necessary.